Welcome, 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 everyone, to this week's Body Harmonics podcast. And oh, you guys, I have such a special treat for you tonight. I was introduced to Dr. Ina really just maybe 2 weeks ago by a dear friend and fellow tea tapper, Cheryl, who we've been friends for forever, way back when with Teresa Tapp. And Cheryl introduced me to Dr. Ina and said, "Hey, Renee, I think you guys would really love each other." And she's going through some personal and health challenges. And I just think the two of you would be really supportive together. And I'm like, yes, I would love if she's a friend of yours, Cheryl, forever and always. She's a friend of mine. So Cheryl was absolutely right. Ina and I have met, and we're now like right part of the same sisterhood tribe. So, Ina, thank you so much for taking time out of your really busy life to come just share some great information with us. So, why don't you start? Just give us, a kind of an interesting kind of timeline on what's going on with you.
Sure. And thank you so much, Renee. It is so nice to be here. And I have to give a shout out to our friend Cheryl, who has become a soul sister to me. She and I met when I moved to Florida. Been down here almost 4 years. So it's probably about 3 years ago. And we just
Oh,
locked
okay.
eyes and became like instant, sisters. And it's just
Yeah,
been wonderful. So I love that she brought us together. So
me
thank
too.
you for inviting me on to your podcast. So my story begins many years ago. I became a chiropractor in the late 1980s. I became a chiropractor. My husband and I opened a holistic health center in I want to say 1989, and that was when the word holistic was a weird word. Not many people understood it. It was like just on the fringe. And I also, after chiropractic school, because nutrition was always really my love and my passion, I went and got my master's degree in nutrition. So for most of my career, when we were in practice, I practiced as a holistic clinical nutritionist. And we did a lot of really cool work. And we had this holistic center. It was a community, it was wonderful. My parents happened to have a health food store a couple of blocks down from our office. And it was just a really wonderful time. So we were in practice for many years. And I want to say, in a lot of that time in my practice, I started to focus on detoxification, cleansing protocols, always recognizing that we are living in a very toxic world.
Yeah. Boy,
And
are
we're
we.
inundated, in our air, in our food, in our water,
Yes.
now with, EMFs and, just it's so much that it's coming at us. And that's one of the big reasons that there's so much disease. So, towards the end of our practice years, I found a product line that I fell in love with. I was working a lot with cleansing and detox. And about 21 years ago, we sold our practice to work more with this health and wellness company. And that was kind of like the next 20 years of my career. We didn't want to leave practice, but it was just like we were kind of divinely led. And the health and wellness company had phenomenal products, and it became our life. And then the company was sold, which unfortunately changed some of the feelings that I had, the integrity and so forth. And so when we moved to Florida, which was, like I said, almost 4 years ago, we were looking for something else in the health and wellness field. So to that point, we found a company that we work with now. We sell whole house water filtration systems because, again, it's hand in hand with, okay, it's not just what we're drinking. What are we cooking with? What are we bathing in? What are we brushing our teeth with? Washing our hands, all of that. And so we use water so much, and there's such a giant problem across the country with the toxins in our water. So thankfully, we found a company that does it right, integrity wise, customer service. Our product is amazing. And so my husband and I have been working with this particular company. Now, What is an interesting part of my story that I'd love to share with your audience, Renee, because as a health professional, as a holistic health practitioner for all the years, I like to remind people that nobody's exempt from disease and illness. And there's so many reasons why people get sick. Yes, lifestyle choices, is it genetics or epigenetics? Is it our emotional state,
Right.
unresolved emotional trauma? There's just so many things. So back up 5.5 years. Well, it was actually August of 2019. So I guess it's 6 years ago. Is it 6 years? Yeah. Right?
Time goes so fast.
I
It's
know. I know. I'm like, wait, is it? Yes.
what was it? How many
Exactly.
years ago? I am the same way.
Yeah.
Yes.
So in August of 2019, my mom passed away. She had metastatic breast cancer. And for any of your listeners, if you go through that with a loved one, it's horrible. But so she passed in August of 2019, and then 3 months later, it was November. So November, my husband and I were going on a little trip, and we were packing, getting ready to fly out very early the next morning. I was in my closet putting together my suitcase, and something, and I do believe it was my mother,
Mm.
made me put my hand under my armpit. And I've never been one of those feelers like self breast exams. I never really did any of that. I'm not saying don't do it, it's just not something I
Right.
did. Anyway,
Right.
I under my arm, I felt this big lemon sized lump.
Whoa.
And we were leaving crack of dawn on a flight to Mexico the next morning for a week. I called my husband in the closet and I said, check this out. And we both
Oh.
knew it didn't feel right.
Mm.
But we were leaving. What could I do in the moment? I don't know that it's something horrible, although I felt that it wasn't something good. So, long story short, we
Huh.
went, tried to make the best of our trip, had a wonderful time with that in the back of the mind, came home, and very soon after, I was diagnosed with non Hodgkin's lymphoma. So this was November, right around the Thanksgiving holiday. And for those of you who either have ever been diagnosed with cancer or know, have a loved one, a friend, a family member, it's a very scary word. We've been programmed to believe it's the end of your life. I mean, there's so much around it, there's so much energy around it. So here I was, I had to tell my family, my dad, who had just lost his wife of married 60 years, my children who are grown adults, but it's
Still.
a scary word. And so from that point, I had a very easy experience. I felt like I was divinely led by my mother who had just passed. I found the right oncologist, the right lymphoma specialist.
Mm.
One thing led to another. I had immunotherapy treatments. I never needed chemotherapy, which was something that I never felt comfortable with the thought of. So that wasn't even a proposal, it wasn't on the table. I went through a series of immunotherapy treatments, and about a year later, I was in remission. And it was
Ah.
like, okay, I'm in remission.
Yeah.
Cool. That was easy. I did well. I didn't have side effects from the immunotherapy. I was able to work and do my thing. And I almost felt like I didn't skip a beat. So now, fast forward, we moved to Florida, and it was the end of 2021, and I happened to get COVID. We're in an apartment waiting for a house to be built. We were in a little rental. And I was in bed for a couple of days, feeling, pretty lousy from COVID. I got up to shower and I went and felt under my arm again, and there was some enlarged lymph nodes. And I was like, oh, darn, what's going on? So I contacted my oncologist from New Jersey, where we had moved from. He said, you know what, you really should get a local oncologist, which I did. So for the last 3+ years, I've been on what they call watch and wait. They keep an eye on things. I've been checked, every 3 months with ultrasounds. My doctor that I see down in Florida is not big on over scanning because of the,
That's good.
right, the potential toxicity of that. And so Up until June, I was on watch and wait. Now, I've been doing, as a holistic minded person, I've been doing all the things. And to be honest, when I was diagnosed, my diet was always really clean. I always exercised. I always tried to have a positive mindset, hydrating my body, filtering our water and our air, and doing all the things. And then when I was originally diagnosed, I was like, you know what? The joke is on me. But I always told my patients, and I always told people that I was, either educating or counseling, that nobody's exempt,
Right.
right? Nobody's exempt because there's so many influences. And here I was, certainly not exempt either. And so watch and wait. Every few months, I'd have ultrasounds. And finally, my doctor insisted on getting a PET scan. So in June, I had a PET scan this past June. And I knew innately, like, even though I was doing a lot of things and I was thinking I was going to be able to handle it on my own, one of my only vices, I love, love, love a good glass of Italian red wine. Um, Not always one, sometimes two, sometimes three. And that was always my, just what did I look forward to? A nice glass of wine, going out to a nice meal with friends or with my husband, a couple glasses of wine. And so in February, I stopped drinking. It was the only thing that I knew that I was doing against my better judgment. And it was hard to give up, but you got to do what you got to do. So now, fast forward June, I have a PET scan and I get the results. And sure enough, now it's time. He wants me to get a biopsy. He wants a second opinion, and he wants me to possibly get back on the immunotherapy and this other drug that causes blood clots and has all these other horrible side effects. And it just didn't sit right with me. So I ended up doing some homework and deciding to go. And I spent 3 weeks at a holistic cancer center in Mexico. I felt that it was more in alignment with how I wanted to be treated. I didn't want to put something in my body that was going to cause another problem. So I went there for 3 weeks. And since then, I've been home and doing a lot of similar things that I did in Mexico. I've incorporated a lot of juicing. I took my diet from healthy, super clean, mostly organic to 100% organic, mostly raw, like a whole new level. I don't go out to dinner. I don't eat out anymore now. Just really, really trying to do a lot to get my body back to health. So interesting, Renee, and I'm sorry that I'm belaboring this story, but I want people to understand that as a holistic person, right, taking care and doing all the things, and I know, I'm sure that a lot of your listeners and followers are the same way. We try to be as healthy as we can be. We try to eat right. We try to think right. We're doing what we feel is best, and things happen, right? And sometimes it's just a matter of, okay, what are the lessons we need to learn? How can we grow from this? And that's kind of been where it brought me to. And I think, we can talk more about this, Renee, because I know you and I feel similarly. It's like, what is my purpose? What is my calling? I would love to be able to heal from this, and the lessons that I'm learning, both what to do from a nutritional perspective, or what's important to do to get the toxins out of our home, out of our world, but more importantly, the thoughts, the
Mm.
trust, the belief, the letting go, the allowing. We have some things we just don't have control over, and we need to just let go and let God, as they say. And so that's kind of where I'm at now. I want to really be able to support people on their journey based on knowing that, we all have our bundle, right? My dad always says that we all have a bundle. And it's the challenges that make us stronger, and hopefully more inspiring to other people who are going through darkness.
Oh, what a story, Ina. Thank you so much for sharing this. This is truly deeply personal, and and I can feel it. And you, so thank you. And yeah, I have two additional, just some interesting examples that I just, along with what Ina just shared, that I personally have gone through. One, with those of you who have been on the my journey with me and the T-TAP journey, where Teresa Tapp, always talked all that, she lost her mother to brain cancer and she was doing everything she could to not get cancer. Everything she knew to do. And when she got it, and she had it more than once, and she really didn't want to share. And I know she didn't want to share because she was so afraid of making her having people think, "Oh, see, she wasn't able to not get cancer. So her message is not valid." And many of us, when she died, said that. Well, if it didn't work for Teresa, mm, you know, not a good way to put it. Not a, we all have our bundle. And one of our bundles is our addiction to our identity. Who do we think we are? Are we what we do and what we teach?
Right.
And when you get right down to this, because I had the same thing, you guys remember, I had what was described as topical red skin syndrome. I was bright red and peeling and couldn't get up off the couch. And yet there I was, bright red, still teaching because I couldn't just stop. There were finally, I did have to. And in the end, I thought if I could only eat these three things and and do a circle 5 times around and sit and do like this, then oh, it would all go away. Another, I'm being, a little sarcastic to point up that we think that we have control, and if we just don't eat that thing, then we can control it and it'll all go away and we'll all be fine again and off I can go. Not no mo, not no mo. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. I had to let go completely. Doing some meditation. I did some Joe Dispenza meditation that opened me up, and I went on Facebook and I found, oh my God, this guy, this doctor in South America who's had this treatment for what I have, and it's not at all what everybody said. And here it is, it's this little compounded thing. And in the end, it was inexpensive. I slathered it on, and darn if it didn't heal me. But I would never have seen that had I not let I was on my knees. I had to let go. Teresa had to let go. And the fact that she left her body does not mean she didn't heal at whatever level. So much grist for this transformational mill in this whole understanding of us as, I don't want to use the word healer. I want to use the word educator. You were using that, Ina. You were educating people, right? You educate on the value of clean water, on the value of juicing, on the value of organic, of the value of light and sun and water. Yes, let's put these things to use for all of us.
And can I say this too, Renee? Because belief is so unbelievably powerful. And for some people, they really do believe that chemotherapy is
Yes,
going to heal their cancer. And yeah, and it
they need to do it.
good. It has
Yes.
it has to resonate. That's why I never ever have any judgment about what people choose to do for their own health journey, right? That is a very personal decision. It's like getting vaccinated or not. That's a very personal decision. And To have judgment, it really isn't fair, because if someone truly believes in that, then more power to them, right? Um, some things to me seem very logical. Like, yes, we want to eat healthier, more wholesome food and stay away from a lot of the processed, refined sugars, seed oils, things that are not from nature. That makes sense. Does
Right.
it?
That there's not and what would be the harm? Okay,
Exactly.
what would be the harm? Oh, I
Right.
don't like it. Okay, well, then eat what you want, but understand that there is a chemical consequence.
Correct.
Okay,
That's right.
not a that's not a faith or a belief. I'm sorry. That, at least in my mind, there
Yep.
are certain things that are indisputable. Now, it doesn't mean that if you're eating processed food, you're going to get cancer. And it
Exactly.
can also mean that if you don't, you won't.
That's right. That's right. And that's really the key. It's like, what means what to the individual? What do I believe is going to be right for me? What do you believe is going to be right for you? And that really comes into the equation in such a big and powerful way. Don't you think
Yes.
so?
Oh my God, beliefs, perceptions are huge. And here's another, just this is an interesting thing, guys, for contemplation. The difference between belief, I have a belief, and absolute faith. Like, beliefs can change. Most of us don't change our beliefs, unfortunately, because that would be really healing. But anyway, I digress. Or just the idea that it's time for me to just release my control, my all those beliefs, like just exactly as Ina said, like I can give up all the, like, if you believe in chemotherapy, you got to have it. That's your belief. You are going to damn well convince every cell in your body.
Correct.
Perfect. But here's, for me anyway, a difference that I'm working with now, and that is real faith. Faith that I know my higher self is guiding me. I am being divinely led. Now, in order to, for me, this is a me, to be there, I have to be as present as possible. I have to be quiet. I have to breathe. I have to slow down, which is very difficult for the movement bunny. I have to, but I have move, and done, and done through my whole life, completely not present. Couldn't tell you half of my life was gone, was three-fourths of it that I lived by doing in my head, but I was never experiencing what is life, what is my higher self guiding me to. No, I have at times. It led me to T-tap. It led me to the healing. It led me to many people and many things. But then I would go right back up into my head. And so I'm only saying this to say that we are living in different times now. The frequency, and I'm all about energy because everything is energy and frequency. Everything is energy and frequency. There is not a thing that is not energy and frequency. So I like to think in terms of energy and frequency. So for me, I know that the frequency of the planet, the frequency of Mother Earth is shifting fast and dramatically. It
Yeah.
is like this.
It's
And
fast and furious.
it's fast and furious. And our bodies are trying to catch up. We're like, okay, so, right? And so many of us are feeling it. And it's now the equinox and it's the full moon. And we used to go, oh, astrology, that's such a bunch of bunk. Oh, and the full moon. No, it's not. It's energy. and frequency, and we are water beings, and it's light. And so I say all that to say now, before the environment, the frequential environment around us has been so dense that we couldn't really see up and over. Like, okay, you say that I need to meditate. All right, I'm good on the mat, but the minute I get up, there goes the racing mind because it's all up here because we're filled with heavy metals and all these things designed to keep us down. But that's not where we're at now. And so many of us have now been called to hold these new frequencies. And that can cause some physical issues, you guys, especially if you're not tuned in and tuned into being present and having faith. This is all perfectly, divinely guided. And so, Ina, I know I have a strong faith that you are being divinely guided to wherever that takes you because you are that beautiful educator. You are. I feel it. You find something that you know will help. You get on Facebook and you talk about the juice when you don't feel well and you're just trying to deal with yourself. And yet you're out there sharing. It's just, it's breathtaking and it's beautiful and it's inspiring. And there's so many of us now who are going through such similar things, and that's our inspiration. And inspiration isn't about what our five senses think it is. It's not about, oh, Ina looks wonderful. Ina, you're looking wonderful, girl. Okay, that's good, but there's so much more going on.
So
There's
much
so
more.
much more.
Yeah.
And all of our stories, none of them ever end. You know, they don't end. Maybe your higher self in 20 years will decide, you know what? I've had enough of this experience. Let's go. And we'll get out of this body and we'll go into another body for another experience. Does that mean you failed? There ain't no failure, you guys. There's no failure to this. This is a game, and we're all playing it to the best of our ability.
Yeah.
And the more we can just let go of thinking we can control it, right? Let go of all the control.
That's the
And I
key.
don't know, and I don't know about you, Ina, but I'm all up for that one glass of wine.
Yeah. 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 I think you nailed it, Renee, with its faith and
Mm,
faith in the divine,
yes.
and being still. I love Dr. Joe. I love his
How
work.
could you not love Dr. Joe? I got to tell you real quick, my absolute bestie friend is there this week with her husband, and I know she was kind of like, oh, Renee, I don't know, to be in a room with a
First
thousand
time?
people,
Oh,
just sitting there meditating for all that time. I'm like, I don't know how you're gonna do that. And she sent me a video, and she's like, this is the most amazing thing. You've got to do it.
it's amazing. My husband and I went a few years ago to one of his week long, and it's amazing. He's wonderful. He does great work. But whether it's meditation, whether it's Dr. Joe's meditation or other
It doesn't matter.
meditation, prayer, breath work, we need to be quiet. We need to be still. We need to be present.
Yep.
That's, you nailed it. That's what I need. That's what I keep working on. I always say we're a work in progress, every single one of us. We're doing our best to, just really live our best life and be on purpose with how can we help others? How can we inspire others?
Right. How can I no longer make it just about me? And so
Right.
one of my new mantras is, how may I best serve
Yeah.
others? How
Yeah.
can I best serve?
Yeah.
Because we are each divine.
That's right.
The
That's right.
divinity is here, and we are each that. Ina, thank you once again so much. And you guys, I am going to in the show notes everywhere that this is, I'm going to put I didn't even ask Ina, but I'm sure she's not going to complain. I'm going to put her Facebook page on here, and Ina will share with me also maybe a link or two to the water filters, because this is all powerful. You guys connect with her, get on. She does these beautiful lives, and let's continue to create this beautiful, inspirational, divinely led community. We're all in this together. And it's in togetherness, in community, that we are thriving and evolving.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. Thank you. And hopefully, Ina, I have a feeling you're going to be on this podcast a few more times.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Renee. I really
Thanks, guys. And for now, heal deeply, move easily, and flow with joy. Much love.